the street.
No, so you would just take money. So you give the ministry that give you a black check to go and do what you want.
That is not.
St. Mary's College are the champions. They are the North Zone champions. If you hear my voice changing, it's because St. Mary's.
Whatever you're doing, this is Channel Bego Day. Remember it, Saturday, 9/11, August 2012, Kirsten Walker is the men's dominant champion 2012 Olympics. Gold medal to him, gold medal to Channel Bego.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to another edition of iSports. Today is Saturday the 5th of November 2016. And tonight we talk football. As you would have heard in the promo done by Terry Lochan. We are gradually making Terry Lochan into a sports person, Roxanne. Slowly he will learn all about sports. In fact, the other day he was actually telling me, he actually called me to tell me about Kenway Jones, and I was saying,
wow.
okay, Terry, they're showing signs of improvement.
Wow.
Much better than
You are
Gary
such
Barrington.
an inspiration,
Barrington.
You are such an
What about Guy
inspiration.
Barrington, your friend?
Okay, that's not hold on, right?
You see
when we're not positive and you just want to bring the negative in.
But why is don't say about Gary Barrington? I can't agree with you.
I can say that about Gary
Barrington
Barrington.
was with me when West Indies win, so he was
Exactly.
positive. He was positive.
This is what I'm saying though, you're such a positive influence. I mean, I had nothing to do with it, so in a way, bringing me in.
Alright, Gary, good night. Look, Gary, you and Roxanne have a love-hate relationship, which I won't going to get into. So let me introduce the guests already here. We have one of the guests already here, and that is Mr. Omar Romero. We're waiting on Andre Samuel. Omar, welcome.
Good night. Happy to be here.
Omar, before we start talking about the upcoming matches, tell us about T&T Warrior Fan Zone. Tell us a little bit about that. A lot of people know about Soca Warriors online, but tell us about T&T Warrior Fan Zone. And I asked that question given the background that when Tony Lee and myself and Wayne, when we traveled towards Trinbago's game in Jacksonville, Florida, against the United States of America, we saw a number of you all there, and you all were actually doing videos and doing interviews. Tell us a little bit about the organization.
Right, well, the T&T Warrior Fan Zone was founded in October 2015. Actually, it's a concept, a collaboration between Sunday Breeze TV and the Warrior Nation. At that time, what we do is fan media. So we focus on getting the perspective of the Trinidad and Tobago fan. We are not the ordinary journalist type entity. And so Andre is here. Andre is the other person who is also who is actually the host.
Andre Samuel.
Yeah, Andre Samuel is here. So our first let's say pilot episode was the Nicaragua game. And what we did is we went to the stadium, and what we did is we interviewed the fans. So we would go and talk to the fans coming into the stadium and ask them how you feel about the game, what are your predictions. We try to get, the real passionate fans on board. So you can see our videos on Facebook. Just look for TT Warrior Fan Zone on Instagram, on YouTube, social media. We're there. And we put together a package at the end of the game, talking to the fans throughout the game and at the end of the game and getting their perspective. Andre is the host who is here.
But before we go there, how has it been for you all? I mean, what has the experience been like? Because even though you said you're not part of the media, you do get a media accreditation. How has that worked?
It's been really positive. We had some great support from the TTFA. We've had some fantastic feedback from the content we've put in out. People at the games really appreciate what we're doing because we really give the fans a voice. The fans, when we talk to them at the games, they come up to us and say, listen, this is really good because, other times you need to express our opinions. Just to give an example, the first game we did, we had the Paramin Posse come up to us and say, listen,
which one?
The Paramin Posse.
Paramin, okay.
The Paramin Posse.
Paramin Marval, right.
Yeah. One of the things they said to us is that, they come to every single Soca Warriors game. And, they are there, whether it's 3 people in the stadium or 4 people in the stadium or 20 in the stadium.
They like Brian Springer.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And they really, they wanted to express that, they wish that something, could be done for them in terms of, as the diehard fans, like to get into the games and really support. And they're glad that we're giving them an outlet to express that. And I guess they'll be happy now with the season ticket program put in by the TTFA that would support that type of thing. So, that is where our focus is really fan media, is really outside of the box, but it really gives a nice outlet for the fans. We put together really interesting and engaging content. Check it out online, and we also have a good relationship with the players. We've done some other features like the 1-minute shootout Which is
Tell us
nice.
about it. I've watched it, but tell us about it.
So the 1 minute shootout is a concept where we have 1 minute. We did some interviews with stakeholders in the game, and we asked some really off the cuff questions. We asked some questions with the football. We asked you something like what's your favorite food? What's your favorite music? And you have 1 minute to answer as many questions as possible. So it gets these guys out of their comfort zone, out of their standard journalistic type thing, and really gets a feel of what these guys really like and their personalities.
All right, so let me begin, Andre, with that. Andre Samuel, and Andre, this is not the first time Andre has been here. Andre, welcome.
Hi, good night, everybody.
Andre, you are the host. Tell us about it. Tell us about the experience. We just heard from Omar. How has the experience been for you?
Well, as Omar said just now, I mean, it's all about providing a different perspective, a different angle, because we normally have like journalists just reporting the facts of the game, and so there's no one actually giving a view from the fans. So our goal is to bring that kind of that angle, that viewpoint, and for the most part, people kind of embracing it because nobody want to come at where you gonna ask man, how can I show this? But I mean, we kind of like to get to engage the fans a little bit, get your thoughts, especially before the game too, because after the game, how they react is all dependent on the result of the game. So you don't really want that per se, and you want to get the feel when people in a natural element, because I mean, we had an experience in the States where after that Jacksonville 4-0, you had to beg somebody to talk, you know what I mean?
I tried to big up supporter.
Yeah, after that game was everybody saw they only thinking about the scoreline, but actually, in my opinion, we actually played well for the first half.
Right.
We were actually, so I wanted to try and engage
And,
the fans.
and did they want to talk?
They wasn't on that. They weren't particularly interested in, they were just like, we get 4-1, we get 4. So, I mean, so you have to try and gauge how you approach a fan, especially, so me personally, I like to get the vibes before the game. So you kind of get before the game and we try to attack halftime, because halftime it still has a buzz. There's still some level of expectation where, based on the score that currently exists or where the game could go, so you kind of get a more kind of involved or animated response from your fans.
How has you respond? Omar mentioned, of course, as well, that you talk to the players. I was there when you were talking to the players. How have the players reacted?
The players, for the most part, are fine. I mean, it's new to them as well, because I mean, some of them may have had this sort of thing at their clubs and stuff, but to get it from a local perspective is kind of weird for them, because they're not sure what direction we're going or what we're going to do. So I think the 1 minute shootout kind of engaged them a little bit, because we kind of hit them like as Omar said, out of the box questions.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
we just watch and say something like, "Who you like, Beyonce or Rihanna?" So they kind of run back like, "What? What are you asking?" And then they
I saw one where you all had, I can't remember the 3 players, but I think one of the 3 players might have been not Andre Buku.
I think Joven
Jones, right?
Yes.
And what
He held the mic. Yeah.
He held the mic. He wanted to talk.
But the funny thing about us, before we did the interview, they said you don't like to do interviews at all, not Joven, and by the time it was so lighthearted in nature, the interview, by the time at the end of the video he was holding the mic and interviewing them for us, so
it turned out to be quite fun, because we actually so we started with 1, then 2, then the players started coming out of the locker room and they just started huddle around the mic because it was engaging, and then we asked, okay, so who's this now on the team?
Yes, I remember that one. I remember that one. They definitely questioned. And I thought that was quite interesting. I think it's something that obviously not only the players will welcome, but even the members of the public, because it's interesting, as you say, instead of the normal questions, it's almost as if you're getting to know the players, which is done elsewhere in the world in terms of knowing the players. Now let's talk, gentlemen, a little bit serious. I'm going to bring Roxanne in here too as well, obviously. Let's talk a little bit serious. Our next game is against Costa Rica, one of the most important games. Just before you came, Andre, Omar and myself were discussing that before in 2005, when Burton Sinclair was the coach of the national team, he was sacked after 2 matches when he had no points. He was sacked. I remember interviewing Jack Warner at the time, the day of the match, and Jack Warner telling me the man getting sacked, and I say to Jack Warner, well, okay, this is the interview here, but isn't he match playing this afternoon? He said, here, no matter. And I remember we had to take a decision. Should we play it before the game or should we play it after the game? And they decided to play it before the game. I remember playing before the game and thinking to myself, wow, boy. If you are Burton Sinclair and you hearing this man saying, hey, it don't really matter. So anyway, but after 3 games, he had 1 point and he was sacked. So therefore, our first one has to tell Stephen Hart without fear or favor. That's very important. The next 2 games, if not the next 3 games. And he starts with Costa Rica at home. First, let me get Omar, your thoughts.
My thoughts, well, I could put it out on the table now. I am a Stephen Hart fan. I really respect what he has done for the team during his tenure. And you mentioned Jack Warners. Let us hope that cooler heads prevail. We have two difficult matches to start the Hex. The first match is home to Costa Rica, who is probably one of, if not the best team in the Hex. They are strong throughout the squad. They are coming here. And for us, in my opinion, to get a result out of that game would be very, very good. And then we go away to Costa Rica. To Honduras,
yeah.
which is a hostile environment. So, my thing about it is that you have to understand what we're up against, and to make a decision like that off the cuff, I would look historically at what Stephen Hart has accomplished, where he has brought this team from where it was, and is there anybody better who can take that forward to the next level? So you're right, yes, it's serious times, but Coach Hart, I think he's in a difficult position, but my thing is that if we get a positive performance from these two games, I think they should keep the faith with him.
Andre, before we listen to Coach Hart, your thoughts?
Coach Hart?
No, on the game against Costa Rica. And you can talk about Coach Hart, not a problem. It's
Deal
okay.
with Coach Hart after, but
Yeah.
basically, before the game against the USA, we were looking at the fixtures, and basically, we had two choices. We win the group, and we play Mexico at home, I think,
Yes.
and Costa Rica away.
Yeah.
Or we play second in the group,
Yeah.
and we play Costa Rica at home, and Honduras away. Tough matches no matter what. Every game is tough. Every game is difficult. And if you want to get to the World Cup, you have to win your home games and try to get something on the road. Costa Rica, in my opinion, is the best team in CONCACAF. Seriously, I mean,
No, I fully agree.
the last game they played, they went to Russia and they beat Russia 4-3 in Russia. And they come into Trinidad. While we were losing to Martinique, they were beating Russia in Russia. So, in all honesty, I'm not running in there expecting a victory. But I'm more looking for the performance. I'm more looking for confidence in one-on-one battles and stuff like that to take to Honduras, which is, as Sean Fuentes told me, the most difficult place to go to in CONCACAF as well.
Trust me, it is.
So, in terms of expectation, once we play to our strengths, I think we can, and the fans getting behind the game and we don't concede too early, I think we could probably sneak a point if
I feel the same
we
way.
hold our own, but that Costa Rica side serious.
And I'm not saying that I'm not gonna say I'm just gonna give up and say that we can't win it, because this is football, the beautiful game, anything is possible. But at this point, I am dead on hoping and pushing and screaming and will be yelling for that point. And so my thing is, I am hoping that defensively we do hold out against them. I think sometimes that we do get a little complacent, and I hope that we've worked on that. And as Coach Hart, as we're going to listen to now, said the focus is going to be very, very important. We need to be focused. And I say we because the fans are the 12th man. We know this. So we need to be focused come the 11th of November. Let's take in Coach Hart.
I've watched that team play so many times. Actually, you all disturbed me. I was just watching them again. But they are, for me, my humble opinion, the best, most balanced team in the Hex. Right? They have good firepower. They had 5 players that played this week in Champions League. Right? They look very organized. Of course, top level goalkeeper. So it's a team you will have to not only concentrate for the entire game, but your attitude, your commitment to the game, because you are playing at home, is one of which you cannot be afraid to put your own game on top of them and see how they handle it, but also to eliminate potential errors. Because if you look at the games we have lost as a team, there has not been really a game, maybe the Argentina game, where the team completely picks us apart and scores. I'm talking, at the top level. It always seems to be a lapse in concentration, a lapse of a mistake, right? So I think I calculated over 60 or 70% of our goals are coming from individual errors, right? So if we could cut down on that, we should be in good shape.
Let me just say, while I like Coach Stephen Hart, I don't know what football he watches most of the time mistakes are scores goals.
Margins,
That's just how football unfortunately is. So there will always be mistakes. I don't think any team will ever have a great perfect game. But I understand what he's saying. But if he says 60 or 70%, I think he have a lot of work to do in defense. A lot of work to do. So let's talk a little bit about Coach Adam. Let me get your because I know that
I understand where he's coming from, because if you're conceding goals from situations where a side pick you apart, goal, then it's a bigger problem than if a man mistrap the ball and going through, because mistakes is not saying that it's something that is wrong with your system or the players you're selecting. It's a lapse in concentration. I think that if, like he said, if guys are focused, then it's not our football or our level or our standard is the
how
problem.
much chance do they give somebody to be focused? How many time do they give somebody a chance to be focused, you think?
I think it depends on the individual player. It depends on who it is. It depends on the quality and the experience. We take, for example, I know we spoke about the USA game, and we were there in Jacksonville, and I thought the first 15-20 minutes was probably the best I've seen a Trinidad and Tobago play against the US, and this is on US soil, against that level of opposition. And the goal that scored was a lapse in concentration, a hard luck, and a
rebound kind of hard luck.
Yeah, right? Now, for me, I think you have to take the positive in terms of the football we was playing before that happened, right? So, yes, I understand what you're saying, where football comes from mistakes and that, but to me, it's a bigger problem if we was under the gun.
No, but that's a good point. But the problem I have with that is that even though they scored the goal, it was a lucky goal in my opinion. In the second half, it was like if we just fall apart, like if we say, hey, we done 1 goal already, and we just take 3.
I think the second goal,
it could have been worse. It was like if you fought so hard, it was only 1-0 down. It was like it just because the Americans were getting a little bit feisty. They were getting a little bit frustrated because they missed some goals.
I think after that second goal, everything just the whole ship kind of fall apart after that, and it was like the game plan went, and after that it was just everything.
I might be sounding like a bad person here, but even up to that moment, I was still thinking, I'm still seeing them as being complacent coming down to the second half. So to me, all of that fall into play with them already is fighting so hard, and then this mistake goal, this lucky goal coming now and added on top of it, and then when it comes down to the second half in certain parts, going on to the game, this team gets complacent. So it's all of that we had to look at.
No, but
I
agree, but complacency normally comes in if you're doing good, You're supposed to be good. The word complacent by itself means that you're doing good and you get complacent. That's complacency.
That happened against
I know, but it's not complacency, it might be stupidity.
Defend the team a lot. I was very impressed with the first half that I honestly went to the States and expected us to lose. Let's be real, because we've never been even competitive against the States since the States became a force in football. Last time we had a result against them was in the States was, I think, the strike squad
1-1
played against some college players and amateurs and whatever, and they draw 1-1.
1-1, yeah.
I'm not knocking the strike squad,
Yeah.
but still, it's been a while. So when I saw that first half, I was really impressed. I was very much impressed, and I'll tell you something. In the media room where we were looking at the game, just as when the goal scored, there was a collective sigh of relief by the Americans. They were actually jumping like they scored in the 89th minute to qualify for the World Cup. There was actually clapping, they rejoiced at the goal. And when just listening to you guys here just now, I realized that the reverse happened in Trinidad. We had that, so it was like a balance, it was a scale. So while they got that level of upliftment and from the goal, our shoulders dropped. It conversely dropped, and that was the game right there. It was over after that.
What do you think about Steven?
Go ahead.
What do you think about Steven? I know you want to talk about Steven, and I have so much thing to talk about too. I'm going to give you a chance.
That is my boy. First and foremost, Stephen Hart. But I'll tell you something about Stephen. What I've noticed about Stephen Hart, and this is why I have some level of optimism for this World Cup campaign. We have been playing well under Stephen Hart against Central American opposition. I've realized that whatever system he's implementing, it doesn't do well against Caribbean opposition because we struggle against the likes of Jamaica, Martinique, Haiti, right? We struggle against the States, right, to some extent.
He's not alone, At under 20 level, we struggle against them countries at that same level. But go ahead.
But playing against Central Americans has been different for us of late, where we kind of we hold on where we better than Guatemala. We better than El Salvador. We
And
not,
as in Guatemala as well.
yeah, you know, we beat Guatemala in Guatemala. And I just have a feeling, we beat Panama 1-0 in Panama the other day. You know, so I just have a feeling that Stephen Hart is targeting Panama. He's targeting Honduras.
So we're going for it.
Well, listen, I'm gonna be real frank here.
No, let's be frank, yeah.
I cannot see 10 games, as I told Omar this already, I cannot see Trinidad and Tobago playing 10 games and Mexico playing 10 games and us getting more points than Mexico. We could win the one-off. If it's a playoff against Trinidad and Mexico, I think we have a chance to beat Mexico. But over the course of 10 games, when you have to stay at a consistent level over 10 games, Mexico will be better than us. I think the same thing applies to the USA, and the same thing applies to Costa Rica. Over the course of 10 games, we ain't gonna have more points than them. So we have to look at Panama, and we have to look at Honduras. And I think we have a chance at fourth.
I don't want to, you see, I don't want to sound all doom and gloom at the same time, because I think as well, I think collectively we all really tentative about this Costa Rica game coming up on Friday. But really and truly, I think if we are home and we set up with the right tactics and we play to our strengths, right? Which to me is if we play compact, we use Kenwin's physicality up top as he's a target man, and we play off our wingers, and we get something. The game, we don't know how the game could run, right? Costa Rica's coming in a very, very good team. They have the likes Keylor Navas and goal, Real Madrid keeper. They have Joel Campbell, they have Brian Ruiz. They have a strong squad. But these things, I don't think you could really look at it like how you would look at the English league and say, well, after this I'm going to gain this amount of points, because in a hex campaign, you don't know how these things gonna flesh out. It could be that Costa Rica lose the first 2 games, the coach get fired, the whole, it kind of go against them, they lose the next game, and then they're out of the campaign, and you have a surprise coming up. We could be the surprise, you don't know. So I think those 2 games across the board for us as well, the other teams in the hex are gonna give us more to go on. At the end of next week, we'll kind of shaping up.
Well, I think by the end of March, we will know what's going on. It's simple.
4 games, so that we finish.
We had to play by 4 games. We don't know if we qualify or not. Because
you mean we know if we win the first 4?
No, we know yeah.
That's what I mean.
Because it's simple. We out of those 4 games, 3 home.
Yes. Correct.
And 1 away, right? So, and if we don't get 6 to 7 points from those first 4 games, we out.
Okay, so we're going to take in some more from our coach, Stephen Hart. He's discussing, I like to call them his boys. He's talking about Willis Plaza, and of course his skipper Kenwin Jones.
Well, this was always a part of the team. He chose at, I would say, the wrong moment to go and try and get a contract. Of course, he has to look after himself, so I understand, but he was not playing. But now he's back playing, seems to be in good form, and Plaza is a fight, he brings a lot of commitment, a lot of passion. Kenwin should play tonight. I don't know how long. He has been in full training. I have been in contact with the training staff. He has trained fine. So I expect him to be okay to go with the game. It's a little chance, of course. It's always a chance when a player is coming back from injury, but we still have another week to go, and hopefully if he can get in a good 45 or 60 tonight, it would be healthy for him.
Okay, so for an update on that, Kenwin Jones did play last night for Central FC. He came in the second half, not too far down in the second half, probably about 10, from what I gathered, it was 5-10 minutes. And he did score the equalizer for them. He pushed very hard, because I discussed it with Stern John, about his condition and everything, how he did. And they were like, the beast that he is in front. He went there, he did his thing, he scored the equalizer for Central FC, so clearly he is ready and confident.
Alright, so let's talk a little bit about Kenwin Jones. First,
wow.
Kenwin Jones we can't qualify. We cannot qualify for a World Cup without Kenwin Jones.
Agreed.
First up, Kenwin Jones, and I've heard many coaches say it in CONCACAF. Kenwin Jones is the most feared striker in CONCACAF. The most feared forward player. I mean, when I say feared, I'm talking about people like to see goals, win matches, but in terms of what his presence and what he can bring to a team, he is the man that you can't defend against. No matter how hard you have to dedicate resources.
At
to
least two
Kevin
players.
Jones.
Yeah, at least two players. I think that
United States did.
yeah.
United States did.
They put a man on the back.
They had a man in front, and they had Jeff Cameron, one of the defensive midfielders, in front of him all the time.
Yeah.
They had to dedicate resources for Kevin
And that could be
Jones.
scary because you could a foul on him in that spot. Anything in that spot
So
could
when,
cause you.
so some of the, fans, people like to see, look at Joven Jones looking so good on the field, and they will see Levi, and they'll see Kato, and people need to understand that these players are getting the space to run and to attack and move and show their skills because Kevin Jones is so heavily marked.
Yeah, I agree with you. No, Kenwin, and just not even the fact that everything is said about his presence, but in terms of the options we have, and to me, we don't have anybody up front who can do what Kenwin does for us in that system and for our team. Now, to talk about Kenwin Jones, we have to also give some kind of acknowledgement to people's issue with Kenwin Jones, and that is that, oh gosh, this man is throwing too much, or this man too lazy, or whatever thing. And I understand it, because we would look at the games and you would see him getting to some positions where it's just like, oh my gosh, like just, nice goal, right? And he didn't put it away, or he might bad trap or something like that. I don't know if it's some with Trinidad and Tobago strikers, because Stone John used to get it. Stone John is, what is he the top scorer?
Yes, of course.
Goal scorer in world football, right? In international football, right? But people wasn't happy with it. Dwight York used to get it, right?
Playing for Trinidad,
playing for Trinidad and Tobago. So Kenwin is just the next one.
Remember,
in the line.
it's 20,000 coaches. I remember him. I remember him once. There was a guy from Paraguay. It wasn't football though. He was talking another sport, and remember he sat here with another guy, he's an international guy, and he was talking, and he said, "Don't worry. When I'm in the stands, I have about 19,920 coaches with me. I said, everybody's a coach.
That's right.
Everybody know when a man miss a ball and how he could miss. Now, you tell about Kevin Jones, what I like is exactly what you just said. His presence is caused difficulty for the opponents, right? And I think we don't have a strong man like him with all due respect to Willis Plaza or young Trevin Caesar. We don't have that physicality, and you see it when he didn't play against Martinique. Look at the Trinidad team against Martinique. They had nobody to hold up the ball, no matter all the problems we had. They had no problem. And as we say problems, we've had a lot of problems with one man. So let's listen to this first. Let's listen to this.
I was told there was an Instagram apology, but I was also told there was an Instagram that said he would not be playing for the team for another year. And then Kevin sent an email letter of apology. I think it was last week. I can't give you the exact date. I called him. I had a chat with him. I told him, I think I had to commend him on finally, thinking or making the decision to make the apology. But he will be out for the next 2 games as a suspension, and then after that, all is clean. He can fight for a position again.
So let me bring. First thing I want to say is I 195% agree with the 2-match ban. I make no addition. I was very glad that Coach Stephen had. It was left by Trinidad Football Association for he and his management team to make a decision, and I totally endorse him getting at least the two matches that he's got. People mightn't like it, but I think he needed to set an example. An apology alone might have been good, except for, as I was telling Omar, the big manship. That when the game done, I go in and take a year off because that big man thing I'm trying. It wasn't good. Yes. That set up a bad direction immediately. Show you that away. I just single play, and we all know that was grandchild. Those of us so when I heard the newspapers give me the stories one day, I said, why are these guys so stupid? Don't they know it's a grandchild? So God, come on, all of you try. We know try to beg us citizen. You must pull it back. This grandchild, and that I think from that first point on, I think he went downhill. He may have apologized after Kenwin Jones. Quite rightly, it was easy. Kenwin Jones come out and say apologize, and about a day after he apologized. Let me be honest, nothing wrong with it, nothing wrong, but just saying it was a little bit too close. So let's talk a little bit about Kevin Molino. Second chance, and he did it. Your thoughts?
All right. Let me say, as a Trinidad and Tobago fan, I took what Kevin Molino did personally, right? You had the first game where we were playing against Guatemala, and that game was crucial for us in that if we lost that game, we had to go to the USA to get a result. and if we and which is highly unlikely, we out a World Cup qualifying. That's how important that game was. And he chooses before that game to break camp, right? You break camp, it's brought up, you discipline or whatever, and you get a blight, right? After you get a blight, you come and do it again. You know, that to me is totally disrespectful, and I with you, I 100% would agree with Stephen Hart. I sometimes I hear people's opinions where they're saying like, you know, well, he's still performing even if he go out online, and I just wondering, you know, what change in people's respect for rules and that type of thing. I think that he got his suspension for 2 games when he come out and he was playing wrong and strong and said he want to take a year. I tell him take 2. Right, and just move on with that. That's my personal opinion, but I am happy to see that he has apologized, that he's willing to move on 2 games, and we move on. Andre?
I mean, I agree with you guys. You see, I was in the press conference after the Dominican Republic game, and Sana Laibert asked him about what happened against Guatemala, and Kevin Molino apologized, said he was sorry. And he let his teammates down, and that he learned his lesson.
Right, that's the same way. So that would have been Tuesday.
That was the Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yes, Wednesday.
And Friday.
He learned his lesson, and he understand. He let his teammates down, and he felt really badly about it. Now,
he said that.
Watch, man, if you see remorse in the man's face. So when his story kind of
48 hours later
coming through, I said, nah, not that player. So watch, man, Kevin Molino real lucky to be given us another chance. I mean. And I think part of what empowered the TTFA was the fact that it is possible that John Bostock is now available for us. And I'm going on record as saying this. John Bostock is going to walk into Trinidad and Tobago side, and he's going to be probably, if not the top 3 or best player that we have. And Kevin Molino, if he chooses never to play for Trinidad and Tobago again, will be easily forgotten.
And I think as well it boils down to options, because I don't think Molino would have done that if Kieran Cummings was available and playing at the level he was playing at last year. If Bostock was there, if he had competition for his position, I don't think we would have been doing that.
Because people worried about Kevin Molino, but when we played against Mexico, the 2 draws that we had against Mexico, the 4-all and the 3-all, we didn't have Kevin Molino. Kevin Molino was in the team. He was out with his ACL. So the team was scoring and playing well without Molino's goal scoring record is not for Trinidad and Tobago is not overwhelming to say that for Trinidad and Tobago he head and high performing over everybody else. I'm not saying that we don't need him. Of course we need him. Our talent pool, our resources are not that big to discard a player of his quality. But for him to feel as if he can just break the rules, apologize, break the rules again. Because that's the reason why we ain't qualified for the World Cup. The team, and that's another issue. I don't know if this is something that we could just touch on quickly.
Sure, go ahead.
Because that destabilized the whole team.
Yeah.
And you saw when I was pointing out to Omar was good on Instagram because he was getting support from the players. Yeah. I don't want to call any names.
Sure.
But I mean,
we know.
But you could see the team didn't look like a team.
But what the only good thing, and this is what you might disagree, the only good thing I saw about that, it shows the camaraderie in the squad that they're willing to stick together. That's the only positive I saw out of that, where those guys were in solidarity with each other. Because alright, he made a mistake, but I'm here with my friend or I'm here with my colleague. That's all. But outside of that, you still need to be a friend to your friend and say, yeah, we're going to do shippiness. You know what I mean?
What last night? Love up to by Andre.
It was. The other night I went, it was.
And I get really good. It's
new.
So as we mentioned, John Bostock, there's big major concern in Trinidad and Tobago about the presence of John Bostock. So let's listen again.
Okay, Bostock's situation is FIFA has met, and we expect he plays on Monday for his club. So he'll be traveling on Tuesday, and we expect by Tuesday to get the official stamped, signed letter on John. Right? That's why I went to 23. Go ahead. Actually,
So there the situation, the information is Tuesday again, right almost to the death, gentlemen and lady. Right almost to the death, we are in a situation with John Bostock waiting. And I agree with you all. I think we need John Bostock, not only because Kevin Molino is not there, but he'll be an unknown factor even for the Costa Ricans.
Right.
And that is the critical part here. Even the Costa Ricans, themselves will be not knowing if he's playing or he's not playing, and we need somebody to surprise them a little bit.
Surprise element,
We
throw them off
we
a
need
little bit.
Gentlemen,
Yeah, but Bostock is a quality player. I mean, I've been following him for a little while now. When it became clear that he was interested, very, very humble guy, very easygoing. He's a likable person. And looking at his clips and stuff with him that he has on YouTube, I mean, he's a fantastic passer of the ball. He's calm and composed. He's a dead ball specialist as well. Yeah, he's very, very good. Free kicks, penalties. He's on that with any team that he's on. He kicks free kicks and penalties.
Yes, I saw that.
And he's a nice little calm influence. And even with even when he was training with the team before the St. Vincent game, I believe the players were kind of like, this guy is quality. And when he was not clear to play, he was in his stands. I was next to him, like liming a little bit, and watching the game with him. I was just gauging his reaction, and he was kind of like shadowing, like, when willing the players, one was like, no, and I'm like, okay, so that means he's kind of
leadership in him.
yeah,
But he was a leader before.
he's gonna take over. He's gonna take over that team.
Yes, just to echo that, I know that from seeing him in training, from the first time he came, Stephen Hart said, we have a player here, right? And he's going to be important for us. I have watched one or two of his pieces of his games and stuff. He's playing right now with Lens, I think, in the French second division, which is high level that is much higher than a lot of our players. And I think he was actually the player of the month in that league.
He actually
September.
chose to go there over some League One teams. Because Lens was a big team that got relegated, so he actually chose to step down with the team.
Yeah, so I am excited to see what he brings to the team. I just don't understand what is taking it so long for his paperwork to come through. Like I was telling Andre, I'm very sure that if it was England or one of these big teams, once they check and see he didn't pay for anybody else or whatever and everything was clear, that paperwork would have come through.
don't have any Jack Warner. Nobody get to push the envelope a little bit further. So you had to wait your time like a normal player.
Omar, God is a Trini. Nothing ain't gonna happen before it's time.
Right,
Patience and have some faith. Let's take a look at what Hart said about the team's stage going into the game against Costa Rica. Right?
Well, I think the state of the players is good. You go into a game, you lost the game, you dust yourself off, and you have a way more important game to play now. Eh? But you cannot expect the event to motivate the player. Right, the player has to come with a certain level of commitment, a certain level of attitude in which they go into the games, and the players have been good, right? I'm sure the Martinique game showed them that if you don't concentrate for an entire game, it's one mistake costs you at the wrong time and you lose. So it's a harsh lesson. But it's one to better learn in that game than the upcoming game.
Gentlemen, based on what Andre Samuels and what has just said, do you still feel that the state is good of the team, honestly?
It's difficult to tell because it's international football, so these guys go off to the clubs and they come back 4 or 5 days before the game and then get together and train, so it's difficult to tell. My concern, honestly, is to me, we were in a good place with the team, with the attitude, with the vibe in the team, and I don't know if it's been shaken at all with the recent results and with the recent stuff with Molino and stuff in the camp. I would like to see that if they put all that aside and get on to business. This is the Hex, this is all or nothing. These guys stand everything to win, everything to lose. If I am Coach Hart, I'm impressing upon them that performances here could impact individually for them on their careers as well. So my thing is that if you can't be motivated by the first game of the Hex, then there's not much of a higher motivation to move forward. So I'm hoping that everything, the last few results are put to the side and the guys come out serious and we get something good on Friday.
Is the state good before Roxanne comes in?
I think it should be okay. I just have a couple. One kind of concern that Michael Williams is missing. He have an injury. I know he's also kind of want to be took any fire.
Did they say you have an injury?
No, actually, I did not hear that.
I heard that
Slight injury.
I heard that he has a slight injury, but
Slight to see.
Slight, like
but I
slight
know that
confined
he
in
and
Come
I know that
on.
he and Molino are
Close,
pretty close.
Close.
Yeah, that man.
It's a good thing you don't want to
That's
chuck
me,
any
man.
fire.
I don't want to
away.
chuck any fire, but I mean,
Like ring on finger.
Mikkel was
Yeah,
called and he just said the other
that just how I myself found it strange that
he
Molino would go to the vast by himself. But anyway, that just
But we will leave that alone, of course. Come
no,
on.
we talking.
state of the team, man.
Right, we leaving that thing alone. Yeah, I know you like Molino, but we leaving that thing alone.
So I have a concern at the position that Michael Williams most likely would have been in.
Yeah.
You know that wing back position. We had a strong back four, strongish with
Well, let's talk
I
about
think
let's
we
talk
are
about that. Let's talk
well.
about that. Let me bring Roxanne in. Let's talk about that.
No, what I've always said that our defense, to me, going forward, recently especially, has improved drastically to me, and I like them together, especially with John in the back, and he knows this. I don't know, they have this thing, that system that works, and in my mind, as a Chelsea fan, I know about defense, you know. So we had to know. But with Michael Williams' position in the back there is huge. I think he holds on that position wonderfully. I think he does it well, and he puts in 150% when he is in that position. So I am a bit concerned, just like you, Andre, when it comes to what's going to happen now, because they have a connection in the back there that I've not seen a rotation done that shows me the similarities that when he's in the back. So I am a little bit concerned by that, and his slight injury.
I beg to differ a little bit because I think the Michael Williams omission is big. Reason being, it means almost certainly that Daniel Cyrus is going to play the right back position. And his defending in one-on-one situations against fast wingers leaves a lot to be desired. Yeah, Joel Campbell coming down on the wing if he's not playing forward. So it's something to look at. If Williams are there, gives you options on the other side.
And Campbell is fast.
Yeah.
Cyrus is not that quick.
So that's my question mark as well. It means that Aubrey David will probably play the left back, I think. Because I think the other defender pick was a young guy, Jelani Peters, who admittedly I don't know much about. But
Coach had handpicked him.
But
So, I mean,
again in Jacksonville, David had some problems dealing with the US young guy Pusilich on the wing as well. So if his fast wingers come in, to me we have a question mark, and it's not just the defense, we have the midfield, the defensive midfielders as well. I hope that Hart is coming up with a solution for that. It's a big call. We see how it turns out.
Well, as you mentioned that, this is just my opinion. I know we talked about it outside. In terms of the defensive midfielders, as much as I think that Andre Buko is a good player. There's too much similarity.
Yeah.
You know, here you have on one side you have Andre Bukaru. I mean, he really works hard. I mean, without a doubt. But I just feel that Kevin George is a strong player, and given what we've just experienced and what we have just said, we're going to need somebody a little bit tougher. We have no tough midfielder. If you look at the size of the midfielders that we have, look at them. Call it.
Highland is.
I mean, Highland and Bukaru almost, with all due
But
respect.
it's similar.
They're very similar.
I get
And
confused.
the school of thought behind both of them is that they are a good team. They work in tandem well with each other.
Yes, they do.
Kevin George is kind of a little different, where he's a breakup artist. You know,
Yes.
you know, and he's not into the fancy thing. You know, Andre like to mash the ball and hold position. Kevin George is a guy that, you know what, break it up, give it to give it to Joven, or give it to Cordell Cato or something like that. And I think I'm worried about the Costa Rican team in terms of how they set up, because looking at their lineup, they came with 9 defenders. Right? They have 9 defenders in their team.
I think they
would
would they okay for 1 point. If they get 3, they're good. But they okay for 1 point.
I actually don't think so. I think they see Trinidad and Tobago as the place they could go.
Of course.
Yeah.
So they're gonna. I'm literally, when I say 9 defenders, what tell me they play with some width, that they might either play 3-5-2 with 2 wing backs and stretch.
No, well, I don't know. I watched them play against Jamaica, and they struggle against Jamaica. In Jamaica, they struggle again in the first half. And they struggled, and then they eventually broke down Jamaica. But so I'm thinking in my mind, and I'm spoken to some of the journalists there, and they said they obviously feel they could get a point here, obviously, or more. The case may be.
I think so.
But the idea has to be they're not going to come out throwing all guns at Trinidad and Tobago because they definitely don't want to lose.
But just to correct you a little bit, Trinidad is not Jamaica, and we're not similar to Jamaica style of play at all. I think Jamaica a lot more physical, and we will say
that's
that.
my point.
We will say that
So that's why I'm saying that how we need to get somebody who a little physical.
Yeah, right.
Hit Brian Ruiz a little bloke. Campbell is a small fella. Campbell is no big guy.
Like Central Americans too, we can't take any we can't take any little.
Well, we need to get some men who could pick that bloke.
And that is why Kevin is so important because I was talking to Omar. I don't know if you remember. We were looking at Levi Garcia and had a fantastic couple of games versus St. Vincent where he was,
Yes.
But then when he went to, I think we had a 3-match tour with Peru, Uruguay, and he looked ordinary because his tricks and his flawless flair, that's bread and butter. They eating that every weekend in South America. But when you have this Cameron Jones kind of player coming at you as a Central American player, you ain't getting that every day. So that's why I think that we have to play to Cameron and hope that Joven and these guys get the space. I think that Bostock going to be key as well because he's going to add that calm in front because he played at the highest level.
I think his size would work well
and he's also
in that position because it's, as you were saying, he's a much needed size.
And what I'm worried about, what I'm happy for, and what I'm also worried about is the occasion. We need players who are not going to let the occasion get to them, and that's why Kenwin is important because the occasion is not going to get to Kenwin. The occasion of late is not getting to Joven Jones because Joven Jones' confidence is at the roof.
Yeah.
I looked at an interview with him last night. They were interviewing him at Seattle Sounders. He had put in like a man of the match performance, and he was talking, and he's like, "Yeah, I know that I'm on top of my game.
He's definitely on top of his game right now.
On top of my game, and I put anywhere the coach play me, I know that I could play any position." And he was.
I make no bones in saying that, and we say it in the commentary. In my opinion, he's the best Trinidad and Tobago player, without a doubt. In my opinion, I just felt that how after the incident with Molino, he kind of like step back a little bit because but I hope we need him to ready to come.
He seems very confident against He did in an interview. He did say that he's ready to go against Costa Rica. He liked the attacking role.
Okay, but we have that balance. We have Kenwin because that's one of the things I love about Kenwin Jones. I think he brings that balance, that calm to the group. I think he's because of his experience, he would be able, even the young ones who might get a little, he would be able to this is what we need to do and this is what we need to understand. This is the situation here. And with Joven Jones being the exceptional player that he is right now and the things that he's doing is a good example for the others to follow through. And then we have Highland. Highland naturally moves like that. I don't even notice Highland. Highland is a very calm individual. In no matter what position you put, he's very calm. And then we have, the only time I study pressure is when John gets vexed in the back. Everybody could feel it. But with Buster, I think he will also bring that calm in the midfield. And we need it there the most. Sometimes our mid tends to get a little too much over themselves and they make some, again, the simple mistakes. It's like you're trying too hard. Like I would say, like us kids, when we try too hard, we fail. Yeah?
Another
keep it simple.
player that we ain't mentioned yet, a key player, massively key player that we ain't mentioned yet is Mr. Bato.
Oh, yes, Shana Bato, of course.
Is going to be very key. He's hands down our best.
Without a doubt.
I thought you were going to say Abu Bakr.
All right, so what we're going to do, let's listen to the team. The team, and then I'm going to ask you to select your 11. So let's listen to the team that was announced.
John Michael Williams and Adrian Fonset. Defenders Rodolfo Abubakar, Sheldon Batu, Johansi Marshall, Carlisle Mitchell, Aubrey David, Jelani Peters, the only newcomer into this setup, and Daniel Cyrus. Midfielders are Andre Buku, Khalif Highland, Nival Hackshaw, Cordell Cato, Jamal Williams, Levi Garcia, Joven Jones, Kivan George, Marcus Joseph, and John Buster. And our three forwards are Trevin Caesar, Willis Plaza, and the team skipper, Kenwin Jones.
All right, so let's listen again, people. So we're going to give everybody a chance because the two gentlemen here are doing the maths here. They're trying to work out the teams. So let's listen to the squad selected. You're hearing Sean Fuentes.
Okay, but starting off, missing name is Marvin Phillips. So he started off with Marvin Phillips and then went into John Michael.
Fine.
So Marvin Phillips was mentioned first.
John Michael Williams and Adrian Fonset. Defenders Rodolfo Abubakar, Sheldon Batu, Johansi Marshall, Carlisle Mitchell, Aubrey David, Jelani Peters, the only newcomer into this setup, and Daniel Cyrus. Midfielders are Andre Buku, Khalif Highland, Nival Hackshaw, Cordell Cato, Jamal Williams, Levi Garcia, Joven Jones, Kivan George, Marcus Joseph, and John Buster. And our three forwards are Trevin Caesar, Willis Plaza, and the team skipper.
So there you have it, people. That's the team. So,
We
so
know the team
first,
skip by
so first,
Kevin Jones. Oh,
let's start with Omar. Omar Romero. Let me hear your 11, Omar.
All right. Well, for my 11, I would go with the most experienced John Michael Williams in goal. I think the defense for me pretty much picks itself. Sheldon Batu and Kalai Mitchell as the central backs. Aubrey David, the left back, and Daniel Sarias, the right back. In the midfield, I agree with your point in terms of Kevin George. And one thing we didn't mention is that he was actually just voted the player of the year for his club, the Jacksonville Armada.
Yes.
So I would go with actually Kevin George based on form and based on the fact that he is that physical presence that we've been kind of missing. And I would pair him with Andre Baptiste in the defensive midfield. And to me, that's a real close call between him and Highland. That is just personal. I really like how Baptiste controls the ball and brings that in the middle. I would go with Bostock in the attacking midfield. On the wings, I would go with Jovan Jones on the left, and I would actually go for Cordell Cato on the right and bring Levi off the bench. Reason being, I just thought that for what I saw in the Guatemala game, Cato positionally was very good and defensively as well, tracking back and helping out. I thought he did a much better job out there. And of course, I would go Kenwin up top.
See that, Andre? That's a Chelsea fan.
All right.
You hear that? Yeah.
Let's go ahead.
Well then, Omar's side, that's solid. The side basically picks itself really for me.
You have the same side?
I have almost the same side.
Right.
I have Highland instead of Buko.
Okay.
Because I think you need leaders on the field.
And
Highland is more, in my opinion, more of a leader than
yes,
Buko.
yes.
Same point about Levi. Wouldn't start Levi. Levi so far has not been good starting for Trinidad and Tobago. He's been very good off the bench, but so we might need him as an option. Off the bench, also interestingly enough, I have somebody like Trevin Caesar because he's
I think so.
like a little crazy ants.
Yeah.
That you just truly
But
cut
it's
him out
according to how the game is going.
Exactly. So he kind of could upset the balance of any defense because he's all over the place, in a good way. I think Coach Hart likes Jamal Williams. I think so, and Jamal Williams is a fit, in my opinion, a very talented player. Once he gets his break, I think he'll do well. There are a couple of unknown entities in the squad, like the defender that Jelani Peters, and I'm not sure what role he has for Marcus Joseph just yet. Marcus Joseph has been doing okay, but to me, he's a player that hasn't really raised his level somewhat to the level that he needs to be to play international football. Same thing I would say to a certain extent Willis Plaza, who is a good finisher. Well, actually, he's probably the best finisher in the squad.
That's right.
Right? But we'll see how I like Hackshaw as well. Neville Hackshaw is a very, very neat, compact little player. Yeah, he's a nice little neat player.
Neat, but he's not something you say, yeah, for sure. I'm sure he's going to get through.
But that's what people say about Kevin
Sometimes he'll be
George.
like Pogba when he now went with Manchester United missing. Is he there? Are you there? Where are you? Hello?
In terms of defense, in terms of first option of the defense, if anything happens to the centre backs, you and say, come on.
Not Abubakar, but
Nah, I want to take your answer too. I know checking it.
Abubakar is a solid player. You see the thing with Abubakar that people look. It's similar to Kevin Jones in that people as well dog on Kevin in the attack, they dog on Abubakar at the back. But Abubakar is a disciplined player. Probably sometimes you have to look at a player's mentality. Whispering.
I'll tell you about Cyrus. Sorry.
But Abubakar basically is a disciplined player, and if you have a coach drawing up some plans for you to play, Abubakar is probably one of the top 2 defenders who will stick
To the plan. Like a German.
Not like Cyrus to a certain extent, because Cyrus, people say Cyrus is deceptively quick, but he thinks he's too quick, so he thinks that he will depend on his speed more than he should. He strays out of position, and he lacks that overall discipline, in my opinion.
Well, from your point in terms of, as we are talking about the defenders, and of course both of you all have generally speaking the same defenders as the case may be. What would be the other choice for Coach Stephen? We have of course mentioned Abubakar. Many believe he's too slow. to deal with the pace of the game, but and he has height. He has height to his advantage,
Yeah.
and most of the opponents are short from the Central American region. Generally speaking, they are short. In terms of the wing backs, we've already discussed the options, but there are other options, obviously, besides Aubrey David and Cyrus. Your thoughts?
Well, I think like I said, that central defense I think picks itself with Batu and Mitchell. Abubakar and Marshall are the default options. One thing we didn't mention is that Marshall actually plays for I think Murciélagos and is it Costa Rica? Mexico. So he has some experience playing against Central American players, so that may augur well in his favor. In terms of the wing backs, like I'm going to say again, I have that concern with Cyrus dealing with wingers because Cyrus, I think he steps off a bit too much and gives the winger time to play and time to cross. I think that is a big problem. We saw it in the Guatemala game a lot coming down to the end where we were holding on and those guys were getting joy down on his flank. I think another option actually open to Hart, and this would be, I guess, based on if he decides to approach the entire game a different ways. If he pulls back Joven and goes for like a Levi on the wing and says, okay, I'm going to move Aubrey David over to the right back, right, and have Joven play the left back. I think that is unlikely, but is an option. And with that, he would be able to get two attacking players on the left side, maybe get to overload them. I don't know.
But I don't think he would.
I don't have that kind of discipline to cover for such an
I don't think
attacking
they would
right
make
back.
that choice.
I don't think they would, but it's just I guess options.
Unless it's something they're trying and they realize it work. I would try that before I try anything on a next stage. I'm being real.
But Aubrey David and Joven Jones actually have a good little understanding on their side from what I've seen. They overlap well for each other, and I think that's a good option because Joven Jones came through the ranks as a left back.
And he's played that position for his club.
What do you think about Marcus Joseph, Omar?
I honestly can't comment. I've read about him. I've heard that he's talented. He has probably the best left foot in the league, but in terms of at the international level, he hasn't shown it yet. So I think he's a bit of an unproven quantity. Andre, I don't know if you have anything.
He reminds me of this Leston Paul. Not in terms of style of play, but in terms of promise. Coming through the ranks. Leston Paul was it. He was the captain of our under 17 and under 16 and went to the World Cup. And he was to be the next big thing. But Leston Paul, he plateaued at a level and that was it. And I seen the same thing with Joseph.
He plateaued on a level, he got a scholarship and went away and studied, and a lot of things changed with scholarships.
Let's see what Coach Hart had to say about the addition of Marcus Joseph.
Should I play this first?
we want to hear
Yeah, because he played in Peru and Uruguay and China. So it's a few months. He looks good. He's looked sharp. He looked like he's in some form. And I will keep with Marcus. I've always sort of been pushing Marcus to go beyond his comfort zone because talent is not the problem. But yeah, he's in the squad. He's gotten a chance again, and we'll see how he does.
So there was his thoughts in terms of that player. Now, gentlemen, before we start to take calls, let's talk about the issue in terms of the stadium. We're going to listen very, very shortly as well. But we all know what we experienced at the last game. Of course, at that stage, there was another function taking place, a Coney Island function taking place at the ASV Crawford Stadium. We understand that won't happen this time. But we're expecting a full crowd. What are your thoughts?
With regards to the
First, in terms of the crowd support and the crowd arriving early.
Alright, well, in terms of the crowd arriving early, the last game was disappointing because we went through that issue before, and you would hope that the people in charge of that would do what they have to do to rectify that. And as the average fans, it seems like a simple solution: open up some more entrances. Coming into the stadium, what I saw is that they had a plan. It was released in the media, but not everybody gets that. All you need is a big sign at the front of where people come in saying "uncovered going this way, covered going this way." Maybe a man with a loudspeaker, but you had droves and droves of people coming into the stadium. I saw a lady with her kids come into the crowd going into cover, and it was a squeeze and a jam, only to reach to the front of the line probably after about 30 minutes, 40 minutes to hear that she's in the wrong line.
Wow.
And it's not only difficult, it's a serious safety issue. So I would seriously hope that the authorities rectified that. But
So that would
as
that would be
fans.
in terms of signage and visibility to know the right.
Yeah.
But I think the idea you have with the speakerphone is very simple
Yeah.
and cost effective.
Yeah, the first time the problem is that they didn't have enough entrances. You had everybody funneling through one gate. That's when we had the USA game, and they said it was because of a security, new security arrangements. I didn't know Gary Griffith and what they had come up with, and they had one entrance where they had like 5 people scanning everybody. That didn't work. This time they separated into 2 entrances, and once you get past the scanners, then they had more entrances to the actual stadium. So that is supposed to, but people didn't know. So you had everybody who was supposed to be going to covered coming into the uncovered line, and it
God, that
caused
has been
a
enough.
big congestion, and it was just bad. It was a safety issue. So I hope they rectify.
But what about a full crowd of people arriving on time? When I say on time, arriving not 5 to 7. Obviously, the game started at 7 o'clock. Not arriving 5 to 7, arriving 5:30 or 6 o'clock.
No, I think well, me personally, that's why we get there 5:30 and we try to get in early because we don't want to put our faith in what the arrangement's gonna be at that time. We don't know what's gonna happen. So that would be what I would tell people, to get there early, sit down, buy a beef pie, buy a drink or something like that, settle yourself and don't go
You're going for
through
the beef
that.
pie?
Yeah.
Alright, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Correct.
Yeah. And from your perspective?
What I don't understand is, as Omar rightly said just now, is, I mean, it's not something that we've seen for the first time. So, I mean, I don't understand why. I mean, I've been to a stadium that has a capacity for 65,000, and I was in 5 minutes and out in 5 minutes. So it's signage and manpower. That's 2 basic things. I mean, you have to invest because you're frustrating the people and you're keeping people away. So, I mean, I know a lot of people saying that they're not interested in going to the game because a lot of people missed most of the first half for the game against
Guatemala.
Guatemala. A lot of people came in when the second half was just about to begin. So that could have frustrated the public because you saw how that stadium was at the end of the
Exactly.
You wouldn't think that you think that
Oh,
the
yeah.
game was halfway,
Yeah.
and then you see at the end of the game and you see all those people, you're like, wow. Then you realize that it's the powers that be, whatever decisions or whatever, and then I think Captain Griffith took himself out and said what he.
You know, at the end of the day, someone else in the executive made a decision
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah, you said
The overruled it.
overruled
Yeah.
is it's
But
not him.
I just want to build on that point because what happens outside the stadium directly impacts on the fan support in the stadium because these people are coming in having been frustrated for 40-45 minutes to sit down and find a seat, and they have
And then
no kind of ice and back to
Kenwin
side.
Mistrap. Oh God.
Yeah.
So they come in vexed already.
Yeah, you
No,
don't have
what we
to-
do with the TT Warrior fan zone is
Right.
that we do interviews with the fans coming into the stadium, and for us, I mean, it's even more difficult to get the passionate people
Yeah.
coming in all excited to the game, want to give their views, and then people just want to blow past
Frustrated.
and just get themselves into the stadium, and you see it in the first half where we playing and it's like we watching tennis or golf because the vibes not there. People coming in frustrated. So I hope they rectify that. I hope as fans as well we really get behind the team, we really get vocal, we really support them. It's a big part of what we do is to try and help boost that fan support for the team to get people involved and engaged. And we hope it's a big game. We
Is
hope we
it,
see that.
is it the working out? Because I feel as though I am watching tennis at times when I'm there and I would scream to the loudest just to make myself feel like I'm hearing that noise. How do you guys...
But we are naturally like that as a people. We are reactive. As the stadium is, for example, in the game against the Dominican Republic in San Fernando, in the Manny Ramjohn Stadium. I don't know if you know the guys from Central FC, Sean Abasali and
the Barcelona's.
right, they chanting and they have the chants or whatever, and some people in the crowd are annoyed.
They do that at Central games, some people get vexed and tell them to
They'll be
move
like,
on.
well, you're disturbing me. I want to watch, like if they're watching a movie, you know?
Yeah.
You're disturbing me. Like, one of my friends asked me, Andre, who's them people there when they're making that noise? I'm like, but
But that's
you know,
to motivate
if
the
you go
squad.
to,
Because they're not accustomed.
you know, exactly, but you will go to, if you go to
Another country.
game, if you go to Aston,
No, they're accustomed.
in the Emirates and the chanting from outside the stadium, you're probably singing along, right? But when it comes to your country, you alone making noise. And I remember some years ago, for the campaign that we actually made it against Mexico, I remember there was about probably 40, 50, 60 Mexicans. And they were singing and chanting, and while the game was going on, you were hearing them. Now, Trinidad, we need to see somebody get a spanner then the crowd will come alive, somebody and get a little
Yeah.
body beat, and worse if a man fall down. With the crowd, we enjoy ourselves. But in terms of naturally supporting the team from the jump, culturally we don't like
I
that.
hear that, and I would agree with it. But let me just switch. If you go cricket, for instance, think about it. If you go cricket,
Exactly.
and they go into the party stand with Trini Posse stand, man, they're making noise right.
Even they alone, they can be anywhere.
They're not watching the game. But they're watching the game. They're not watching the game. They're making more noise than watching the game. They're going crazy.
And you would think at the cricket game is where you would
No,
want that.
they're making
quiet.
noise like it's madness going on there.
They're enjoying themselves.
They have a DJ, see.
Which
They have a
is-
DJ
which is-
that's making noise.
I've noticed that Tribe has their own little section now.
Yeah, they're trying that now.
And I think Avinda and his crew.
I know that the
Why not?
last
Why has
time,
another
last
section?
time Sean was here, they said that they were all inclusive tickets or some kind of section like that with all inclusive.
Pairs and doubles and
Yeah.
whatever and rhythm section. And
Yeah.
So that and the rhythm section goes on and on and
Yeah.
on throughout the duration.
Because nothing, unlike cricket, nothing wrong with the noise during the game. Unlike cricket.
I think what disturbs me most as being a football fan is wishing that we could have some sort of ultra mentality. You know what an ultra? We know what ultra is in the football world. I think we need to understand, even from listening from where Andre and them talk about when you go to Honduras, so you go to these different places, how important it is for the home crowd to make the visiting team feel uncomfortable.
We're doing that.
I would be, and it's so serious with how we are. A woman made a statement at the game against Guatemala. Yeah, it was the Guatemalans. And we was yelling, the team that I was with, we were just giving them a little boo when they pass and be like, trying to rile them up. And she was like, oh my God, what kind of behavior is that? You need to stop that. And I looked up at her, I'm like, you serious? And she was like, that's not sport. I said, this is not the Olympics. I'm not here to cheer on a man who just, I need to make him feel uncomfortable. And she looked at me like, oh my God, look at you, just on a, no, I understand where she's coming from in the sense of sportsmanship and we all think, but I think we as a, I know our culture, but I know we are capable of making our bacchanal when we need to. Because exactly, but then we need to go with that mentality. I think it is needed. I think when I speak to Ken, when I speak to the team, they ask for it, they want it. They enjoy the Abasi brothers singing their names out and chanting it. It encourages them and gives them that extra energy, that extra boost on the field. And I don't understand why we can't do it.
One of the players told me some time ago that Trinidad and Tobago is the nicest place to
Yeah.
play football in.
They think we weak.
And you will go to another country and they will
Pelt in your bus.
they pelt in your bus. I mean, they pelt in your bus. They outside your hotel with a loudspeaker.
And we won't even go and
you
disturb them when
can't
they come
sleep.
here.
So
Well, we had interviewed the Costa Rican journalists and we interviewed the Mexican journalists, and they had said exactly the same thing. That with all due respect, no, this is a very important point. When we interviewed the Costa Rican journalist, this is what he said, and you have to listen to it carefully. He said that when they're playing against certain teams, when the teams arrive in Costa Rica, the fans will go outside our hotel and make noise right through. So I asked him about Trinidad and Tobago. He said, no, not Trinidad and Tobago. Now there's a reason why he said that, because they don't feel Trinidad and Tobago is a strong team. There's no belief in their mind that Trinidad and Tobago is a major opponent. So nobody going outside the house or make noise. You understand? Because he said, no, we don't do it to Trinidad and Tobago, but if we do it to Mexico, we can do it to America. So come on, what are you trying to say? In other words, they're saying, we know we gonna beat you. So really, I don't want you to do that.
Get some sleep. You rest. Rest up for that like tomorrow.
They are arriving on Thursday. They are there.
Yes, they are.
They are arriving on Thursday.
Thursday, when-
Yeah,
Yes.
Thursday.
In the stadium, I think Kenwin spoke about that. and the other team is, so it somehow being made uncomfortable for us. Why is
Where
that
the
like
home
that?
team? Where the home
Go
team?
and send them down in Hardiel Park or,
Yeah,
or Eddie Hart or something to train
that's
where
what
you have
you
some
do.
grass or something and tell them sorry. We
But
are see when you like
not
that or
only that,
something.
I remember when the team went to it would have been Guatemala, or it could have been El Salvador. It could have been El Salvador or Guatemala. It was a game we were leading 2-0 and the score came up El Salvador.
Yeah.
When the team arrived before us, when the first hotel the team went in, it was a bad hotel. They had to change hotels.
Yeah.
That was I had to tell you how they're making it so problematic for Trinidad and Tobago. When they change hotel, and Roxanne is right. When we went in there, Ken Butcher was alongside myself. When we went in there, I'm talking about the games at then. Let me say 7:30, and we know we want to go early because we're not sure of how things will go. So let's say we finally get in by about 4 o'clock. I'm telling you, they have fence. So they have fence like if you're in a jail. So the fence high up so. And I never will forget in my whole life, and I'm not being bad, people were jumping on them fence like if they were monkeys, and I'm not being disrespectful to the people, but they were jumping on the fence and shaking the fence like they were monkeys. And I say, what the hell is this 2 hours before the game start? And when the Trinidad and Tobago team come on, Jackson is right, when the Trinidad and Tobago team come on that field, they boo that Trinidad and Tobago team like nothing I ever
booing
seen.
them, and
Man, and
they
they jumping, and they pounding that thing.
We ain't doing that. You know what? When
I will be booing for all of us.
When
November
Costa Rica walk on that field and when Kilo Navas name scream out,
we do this struck fan.
Madrid, it might have some people in the stadium with Real Madrid jerseys.
Anytime I see them, I'm going to get them. Better be seen.
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. When
The Barcelona fans, the many Barcelona fans in Trinidad go put them.
so when England come down here, there are people in the same with Beckham jerseys.
yeah.
It's true. I saw that.
Yeah.
Alright,
It is not cool. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's get everyone involved. The number is
622-3937. 622-3937.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Hi.
Well, first I want to say that for me, as the 12th man, and when I get in the stadium, I am very loud, very vocal. You know, so I can't be so politically correct as your friends and them there with the respect I see they giving to Costa Rica. Me in Costa Rica, yeah, you the coach and all has some respect, but me as the 12th man, I in there, no, you can't come in my backyard and be better than me. You understand? If Bostic, all what you have to say about Bostic, if he is the lion leading a herd of sheep, the victory is yours. But I can't let a sheep leading a group of lions get the better of me. You understand? So I in front from now. I don't want to hear nothing. It could be Nima coming. I back in my team for victory or at least a job at a victory. And next thing is, all the guys, let them fellas and them know not to put a name on the jersey because all they're talking with knowledge there. Right, that all they know all the players. But I had to be there now trying to figure out who number 7 is, who number 13 is. I mean, if you ain't really into the thing itself, you have to lose. You have to lose, so let them put name tags on the jersey so people can know who they're conversating with or who they can make the points about. Right, so where is that now?
Yeah, you know, that's true. I have to sit down there sometimes and there we go, Rocks. Yeah, that's Bukum. No, that's Highland. No, the other one is. It's annoying sometimes. Yeah.
It's on the Costa Rican, so they negotiated for themselves where they're going to say Trinidad team doesn't arrange it. They do all the arrangements themselves. So they arranged that themselves.
So when it comes to the return trip now, we had to go negotiate where we want to be.
Correct, same thing. In fact, right now I've just gotten where we are going for the Honduras game, the location as well.
Is it in a good location?
Is it? Sorry?
Is it in a good location, Andre?
Well, according to the Trinidad Football Association, yes. 6223937, yeah.
Alright, if you say so, we had to go on that.
Yeah.
But my
I'm
view
still
is
checking,
that this is a whole Malino business and what
Yes.
is transpired the outcome of this team. You know, the coach had no business in laying down rules with regards to fines and disciplinary action against players. You understand what I'm saying? He format is to make sure that the team prepared. And I mean, they put in too much pressure on the man with regards to that. And I think the team needed a sports psychologist to work with at this moment in time to get them mentally prepared for this hex or whatever you call it here. And that is one thing I'm against the Trinidad Football Federation for that institution, because I think, you know, you need these players mentally fit and mentally tough at the end of the day to face, you know, this final rounds of the World Cup qualifying. So I will wait and see what transpires on Friday and the next match. And if it is, you know, that we are under pressure, they will have no other alternative than to bring that sports guys just then.
Thank you. I agree totally with you on that one. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Sir.
All right. Andre, I remember the last game. Somebody was telling me that a lot of the tickets that are sold from the lotto machine, right? And that they had rain during the afternoon. They get wet.
And they couldn't go to the machine, yes.
And they couldn't go to the scanner. So people are just saying this so that the fans could take any preventive action against that, put it in a plastic as a block bag or something, and keep the ticket, don't put the ticket in your wallet, keep the ticket kind of open and dry, so that any time come.
No, but if you put it in your wallet, I would like to think that you put money in your wallet. You also put your credit card in your wallet,
Yeah,
so
but
it should be safe. No, but people won't. You won't put things in your wallet, and you should put it. Well, depends on what type of wallet you have, obviously, right?
Exactly.
If you have a good wallet, let's say a lady have a good purse, you put something inside, no matter rainfall, it really shouldn't affect it. It's how it's the manner in which you keep it.
Yeah. Right? If you have a good wallet, and I mean, all things given, all things even, I think the bottom line is we have to make sure those tickets stay.
Of course.
In a decent way and dry and so on, so that we can prevent that. As you all mentioned, otherwise, I hope the authorities could put all the other things in place to get people in faster, because I was in that stadium very early, and I mean, I was quarreling because the stadium empty, nearly the first half nearly finished, and all around the side still empty. It's only, as I said, the second half started, the space kind of get full. So we had to fix that.
Agreed.
Okay,
right?
So hold on. So before you go, so you have purchased your ticket already?
Long time.
Okay, just making sure. Go ahead.
Right? The issue with Daniel Cyrus, right? As one of your guests said, the two guests confirmed exactly what I have in my mind about him. And that's one of my areas of concern, definitely. Right. The second point was made when he gives too much room. You know, and as the first guest said, he's disciplinary fast, but I think his issue is from zero, when, so that if he's marking a player and that player have a quick burst, that player could get away from him. So in order to compensate for that, he kind of gives the player room so that he could gauge if the player try to move, and I think that's a kind of dangerous situation to be operating in. So he have to either, if he plays, he have to correct that, he have to address that seriously, and or else we'll have to use somebody else, go with somebody else who we know we could solidify in the back there.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, good.
All right. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Yes, sir.
Yes. Hello?
We're hearing you, sir.
Yes. I'm talking about the issue with Molino.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, when I am a very strong supporter, you tell Trinidad have no chance of qualifying high in the stadium.
Nice.
Now when that happened with Molino, I kind of get disheartened, and I didn't even buy my season ticket because Gandhi had a saying, that I can quote it word for word, that if a man do a wrong and when he do something else, anything he does become tainted, it would happen with Molino. So Mr. Hart had to be careful. When he play in Molino, he don't play him in the home game. If you're going to start him off, because if Molino having a bad game, you know what the spectators would think. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
And
Thank
then-
you. See, but this is the thing. Is Hart in such a difficult position because he's taken this decision now. And if the team doesn't go well, they'll say, well, why you see we missing Molino? Why we didn't let him play?
Exactly.
And this is why we think he has to stand bear the brunt of that. Now, if he plays him and you give him another blight, it means that all the rules or regulations he's put in is out the window. So anybody else on the team could follow suit and not expect any consequences. And then if it doesn't work out for us again, he fall on his sword. So he between a rock and a hard
But
place.
I want to say honestly that he did the right thing. So whether or not the team lose, it's not because of Molino caused this.
But one more thing,
Hart.
one more
Sense
thing.
to prevail here, though.
Another point to consider. Should it have been Hart's decision?
No.
Should the TTFA, because he breached the Hart rules, it was,
But
Molino wasn't representing Hart, he was representing the Toronto Football Association. And he broke rules set upon him by the Toronto Football Association.
And
Should John Williams and whoever
Yes, but we
should
would
say,
hope.
leave it up to, because Hart could not play.
No, we would hope that because of in
You
this
know.
time there was not something specified in certain documentation that going forward this will happen. I just always say
They
if
put
I
that
can,
in place now.
yeah, because I'm gonna say this once. I heard you also about the Molino thing and I kept quiet because he knows why. I've always said this: if I let my son do a certain thing over and over, or something happening for years, because this has happened before and it continues, and I didn't put something in place, I didn't put that disciplinary act in place from get, because remember what you encourage is what you're going to reap eventually. So this is it reaching to the peak where we're not, no, you all need to sit down, pen and paper now, and any future contracts, whatever it is, if it is in your contract, you want to put it in all the amendments, I don't care what it is, make sure it is highlighted big and bold. If you do this is what's going to happen to you. Don't let them have the opportunity to say, well, I didn't see that no fine print.
And I totally disagree with that.
Yeah,
but I believe that Molino is not her,
He's supposed to be
is
sensible, professional.
not her son who is 5 years old.
Oh,
Right?
but
He's not 5 years old, eh? He's a little bit older than 5.
I
Right?
know.
So therefore he should have sense.
We
But
understand,
yeah,
but
yeah,
clearly,
you know.
but fans supposed to have sense to know it's not our fault that if the team win or lose, and clearly we still want to put that point and deviate for the
Something
fans.
come
Come
out of the
on.
penalty zone,
Yes,
right?
yes,
So
correct.
passionate.
At the end of the day, let's be clear on one thing. We would not be discussing this if Kevin Molino did not do what he did.
Yeah.
And that is always when there is a fault, you go to the base.
Yeah.
How it arose? It arose because, honestly, in my opinion, it arose because the first time they were a little bit too lenient.
I'm quite this in
And
heights.
you know that if this was corrected before the Guatemala game, I bet it
Alright.
never happened.
We're right, they didn't.
But
And that's why they put the responsibility back on Hart, because it was his decision
And they didn't
before
do
the
that.
Guatemala game.
Right.
So in all fairness, put it back on him. I mean, we had to be fair.
But I mean, culturally,
Going forward,
but
though,
culturally as a
we have people like that.
because I mean, I know of a cricketer,
Yes.
I call any cricketer,
Thank you. I like Andre,
Famous
my
cricketer.
Chelsea brother.
famous cricketer, and I remember he played in Guadalajara Park, South,
Yes.
and there was a club named Edge. He was 42 not out, and he in the club too. He in the club 4:30 in the morning, and he went and make 141. Everybody knew he was there.
I had 4 members in the and it had a little small, called Maraval.
Too late.
4 of them was there after 3 in the morning. We were all dancing and having a time. So,
Yeah, but
eh,
the problem
but
is that
going
I'm
forward.
quite sure
going forward.
Molino, what he has achieved in the game of football is not what that cricketer whose name it
But that
mentioned
shouldn't be the
achieved.
issue. The issue is there are rules,
And it's
and you abide by the rules. And I think that's the point the players
I
have.
know, but there's also one other point in the two sports. Molino's game, cricket is a little bit of an individual game. So the guy could go out and prove that he do his.
Right. Whereas Molino
in that game against Guatemala, with all due respect, was playing absolute rubbish. In that game against Guatemala, he was playing absolute rubbish. I remember we were commentating and we were saying Molino was having a really bad game.
Having a vast game.
Even Proven was having the best game until he scored the goal. They were struggling a little bit, eh? Anyway, let's go back to the telephone lines.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, hello.
Hi, good evening.
Is this the radio station?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm calling to you about the topic you are speaking about football.
Yes, we are. We're hearing you, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, I find that Stephen Hart is not good enough to coach at this level. You know,
Why you say that, sir?
he cannot win his home games.
When you say he cannot win his home games, what do you mean?
In the last rounds,
Yes, sir.
a United States B team held trying to be able to draw. He could not beat Guatemala at home. If you want to go to the World Cup, you must win your home games.
We agree with you.
And if so, tactically, he allowed this team, a B team, to beat him, which was embarrassing.
But can I ask you one question? Did Trinidad and Tobago qualify for the next rounds under Stephen Hart?
Yes.
Right. And isn't that the ulterior motive of any coach is to succeed in any function, any task that you're given? So the task that he was given, he has succeeded in. Now it's a new task. Agreed?
Yes.
All right. Thank
Yes.
you. You have a wonderful night.
Did it take long though? Jesus, I was very mad. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say that I think it's time we in Trinidad get to realize what professional is all about. We're talking about the Mourinho thing. And we have to tell about what used to happen before. If we want to go forward in any our sporting activities, we have to be professional and big enough to say when somebody is doing something, if it's wrong, it is wrong.
Wrong is wrong.
There's no second chance and nothing. I am totally 100% for Mr. Hart what he did with Mourinho. For me, I said before, he might have get dropped completely, especially the remark he made after the Dominican Republic game. Because we are nobody big here. The biggest thing is the game. Go man and big. And we have to start realizing if we want to be professional, if we want to reach far, there are certain sacrifices we have to make in order to reach that position. If we don't want to make it, we will go nowhere. We will just spin it up in mud. And I go from now on, I pray that the players and them realize what it's all about to reach there, and how to get there. It has to be sacrifice, discipline, and commitment towards the game.
All right. Thanks a lot, sir.
And I mean, and I'm glad that.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Yes,
Good
sir.
evening.
Hello?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
When this qualification round started earlier on during the year, wasn't Trinidad and Tobago momentum in the first position? Right. It's just football is a funny game, you know, it is home and away and all this other thing. What transpired between the beginning of the year and September is totally different to what happened after September, you know.
Yeah.
Because the team, you know, went on a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing. That the football played in the beginning of the year, that didn't transpire towards the latter half.
Well, remember one of the problems would have been that after the last games against St. Vincent, a lot of the players were not actually playing football for a while. So they took a while to get settled back. And we always knew that was going to be difficult for Trinidad and Tobago. And I think Coach Stephen, when he had come here, he was wishing that after the St. Vincent game, the other games were going to come right after, because the team was, you're right, in a momentum where they were winning and they were feeling good about themselves. And then 4 months later, you expect him to return. So thanks a lot. Thank you, sir.
Right. What hard has to do is begin the process again. And that will take out him and the team, because at the end of the day, he only had the players for a certain amount of time. People have to realize that, you know, he had to work with what he has. But he has done a good job. And I wouldn't blame him for what is going on here now.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, too.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. My point.
Sir, I'm not hearing you well. There's a lot of noise in the background. Please call us back. Thank you. No, I can't wait that long. You were going to say something, Andre?
Yeah. No problem. But in terms of looking forward, when you listen to the crowd tonight, we are hearing the optimism from the people. Obviously, that there is expectation, but you're already hearing it, because the Trinidad and Tobago people are negative at times. You're already hearing, you're getting that sensitive feeling that we feel we might struggle, that we need to make changes immediately, and it's almost as if they're not willing to give someone a chance, because the caller was right. Up until the start of those last 2 matches, Trinidad and Tobago was leading the group, leading a group that included teams like Guatemala and the United States. Trinidad and Tobago was leading the group.
We actually qualified with a game to Spain.
With a game to Spain.
Let me give you an example. I mean, like I mentioned at the start of the program, we
The last time I did that, I get in trouble now. So, but I think realistically, we're in for a real tough game. This is probably going to be our toughest home game.
I will go for 1-1. I think it's important that we score first, because if we don't score first and back against the walls, and then Costa Rica have now the ability to sit back and let us bring the game to them, it could be dangerous. I think if we play to our strengths, we use the physicality up front, we have the wingers playing off of them, and we get our early goal. I don't see us holding Costa Rica goalless, so 1-1 for me.
1-1. Yeah. Just remind us again about what we're talking about, the Trinidad and Tobago Warriors fan.
Basically, we don't want to let everybody know that, to come out on Friday. Omar and I are members of the Trinidad and Tobago Warrior fan zone. Check us out on IG, on Facebook. Look at the videos, like the pics. And don't be afraid. We're gonna come towards you. We're gonna tell you where we're from. And we're just gonna ask you a few questions. Just as a relaxed nature, nothing to worry about.
Do you like to party before a game? We can ask you that. Do you party before your game?
So I walk up to you, Andre, and I'm fully kitted. What you gonna ask me?
When we kitted it,
of course, so
Chelsea,
no, national team. No, boy, it had to be national team. Come now.
I will ask you if Cameron Jones scored today, how you gonna scream?
You go strip? No, ask if you will strip.
It's not that kind of matter.
Get your God! See, I don't ask you go from
if we win today, where we going? We going on a boat ride or we going fast?
Yes!
Where you want to go? Or something like that.
She like boat
ride. I will tell you, boat ride, baby.
She likes boat ride. She does boat ride.
And I would tell you, I won't scream, I just go,
Just walk into the boat ride, baby.
Anyway, you know what? I can't take this. What you are trying to do with this? Can I get my last word in? Andre, you finished? Honey?
I'm finished.
Okay, it was really nice meeting you both, Andre and Omar. It's so fun to have two Chelseans inside of here. There's 3 against this one Arsenal. How do you feel? Like a 5 up? High fives? Nothing? Huh? No?
We're talking about national football.
Okay, but no, honestly, on Friday, I am concerned. I would hope for a draw. I can take it.
I'm going for a win.
I got 0-0. I would hope for a draw. A win it can happen, and I think it would happen once the mid and defense holds their own. And I think if we can keep up, because Costa Ricans can run, I think once we can keep that throughout the entire game, whether it be we sub in the second half and they maintain up a certain level of pace against one-on-one, especially whoever, I think we have a wonderful chance. I think our home advantage is extremely strong. I think the team understands how important winning at home is, and they're going to come out there with that mentality. With that being said, I am hoping that the fans come out with the same mentality. That has always been my cry. I want the fans to come out and let it be known that we are Trinis, we are Trinbagonians, this is our home, and while you're here, you're going to be uncomfortable, you're going to listen to what I listen to, you're going to eat what I eat, this is our home. So we're doing it for our players. That is what I want on Friday, the 11th.
And they wanted to come early,
Of course, I want them to come early, but then I know my Trini brothers and them, oh God, the girl are finishing work 5 o'clock, I gotta reach on it. Take an early day. Yeah?
If you can finish at 5, you should still try your best to come enter before the game starts. Enter before the game starts. Alright, no excuses.
With that being said, Andre really loves to, hype up his team.
We're going to leave you with this one, because we'll still talk football on Thursday, because we still have the day before the game. Nevertheless, much thanks indeed to Omar Romero. Certainly, much thanks Andre Samuel. I know Tony's out there. Tony probably listening obviously out there, and all the other members. Certainly, Brian Springer would have been here, but he's playing football tonight. That's why he actually wanted Omar to goalkeep. He wanted Omar to goalkeep. He told me, I told him no way. No.
I come here excited to see Brian, and he go on to play football
against I95. He's playing
again. Our team measure we are.
That's why your next boyfriend Atali is not here tonight. All right. On that note, let's leave you with this song here. Good night, people.